Welcome to my channel. Thank you for stopping by. Well, I wanted to discuss accountability, and specifically accountability within the Jehovah's Witness organization. Now, they do teach accountability up to a point. I mean, when it comes to reporting abuse, well, no, they don't. And it's evidenced and it's demonstrated time and time again that it's proven and it's documented, and that they don't go to the police. But I really don't want to go that direction tonight. I wanted to talk about accountability for the dead. The dead don't. It doesn't matter what Jehovah's Witnesses teach. It doesn't matter what the dead have done in the past. See, they will be brought back to life for a second chance, and then they will be brought back to paradise. But if you think about that, it really teaches no accountability to those individuals who died, say, in the 12th century. They say everybody who died before the end, who dies before the Great Tribulation starts slash Armageddon, they will be fine and be brought back to life. And it doesn't matter what they did. You see where I'm going with that? I mean, they're not teaching accountability to the individuals, because they say, well, if you don't have accurate, the witnesses will say, if you don't have accurate knowledge, then you're fine. It doesn't really matter what you did in the past. But of course, if you're alive, mind you, if you're alive and you're a good person, you'll be murdered by Tony Morris and his compadres, the anointed compadres at Armageddon, for being alive and not having accurate knowledge. How is that just? And how is that even? How could that even be a good judge right there? How could God? How could you look at God or the Watchtower God and think, well, that is a justful God? I mean, look at Adolf Hitler will be brought back to life because he died before the end, and just because he didn't have accurate knowledge. Wait a minute, this just doesn't sound right. But it's taught. That's how they teach it in the Jehovah's Witness organization. Somebody in the 12th century, but there was no accurate knowledge, say, in the 12th century, right? Only the accurate knowledge didn't come till 1879 or the 1870s, when Charles Taze Russell started the modern day Jehovah's Witness, or the precursor to, I think I said it right, the precursor to the Jehovah's Witness organization, the International Bible Students. So, really, where's the accountability in that? There is none. So basically, everybody should just die so they don't get destroyed at Armageddon, so they come back to paradise and have a chance at everlasting life. And you see the contradiction, but it's not surprising of an organization to teach this, because there's inconsistencies in their teachings. Especially, you look at the generation that will not pass away. Then they had to go to the overlapping generation. Totally a flop there. Can you imagine if another religion had that? I'll give you an example. Can you imagine if the Seventh-day Adventist, now they originally had, the Seventh-day Adventist is actually, well, okay, let me just start with the Seventh-day Adventist. Can you imagine if the Seventh-day Adventist made a failed prediction about this generation that will not pass away, and then they pretty much pass away, and then teach an overlapping generation? The Jehovah's Witness organization would be putting that in the wakes, putting that in the watchtowers, putting that in their JW library to show that the Seventh-day Adventists are false prophets and they're terrible. But yet the Jehovah's Witnesses failed majorly, and they can't escape that grievous error. You just can't. And I was going to get to the Seventh-day Adventists. What I wanted to say is the fact that the Jehovah's Witnesses are basically from the Seventh-day Adventist religion. Charles Taze Russell, I think he studied with a Seventh-day Adventist preacher who left the Seventh-day Church, but he brought some teachings, and basically the Jehovah's Witnesses have a lot of the Seventh-day Adventist teachings. If you're a Jehovah's Witness watching this, do the research. But just ridiculous how you can do anything you want. Say somebody was born in the year 1780 and they lived for 100 years to the year 1880, and they were just a vile murderer, rapist / just the worst of humanity, and that person died before then, that person didn't have accurate knowledge, they'll be fine. So everybody that lived like I say in the 12th century, I'm just using an example, in the 12th century, all those people like Robin Hood and all the merry men, it didn't matter what they did. Okay, that's another story. But somebody that lived in the 12th century that was just wicked. I just want to drive home the point. So if you're not a Jehovah's Witness, or if you're not an ex-witness, if you came by this channel by accident, this is what Jehovah's Witnesses teach, that somebody that was an extremely wicked person will be brought back to life in paradise. Try to wrap your head around that, because that really is almost like a false prophecy teaching. It's a false... Of course, anybody is held accountable for their actions, and they should be. But on top of that, that wouldn't be such a bad teaching if they wouldn't teach that billions would be slaughtered for being alive and didn't die before the end. See, it's just ludicrous. If you're a Jehovah's Witness watching this and you think this is, you think I'm wrong about it, well then perhaps cognitive dissonance is kicking in, because use critical thinking, and it's not, you're not being disobedient to God. You're not, that Adam and Eve question in the garden. This is something that is, you just have to wrap your head around it and use critical thinking, because the Jehovah's Witness organization points the finger at every other religion and says, see that terrible teaching, see this terrible teaching, see this terrible teaching, and they can't recognize their own terrible teaching. It's a modern day Pharisee organization. Were the Pharisees humble and admitted when they were wrong? No. Just like the Jehovah's Witness organization, they never admit they're wrong. They'll never remotely say they're sorry or anything. But that's all I really wanted to say. I think I covered that tonight. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for your time, and you have a nice day.